Good afternoon, everybody. Lockdown. Oh, I forget. Day 297 from when we were first locked down in
Is
the
it
UK.
really?
297 days.
You're scratching
Can
them off
you
on the wall, aren't you?
can you believe that? It 3 days and it's 300 days, and we are no further than what we were last March. If
Time flies
anything,
when you're having fun, doesn't it?
if hello demon, Sive, synthwave. I always hate saying that. Can you not change that to something a little bit more jaw friendly?
Probably. I just can't be asked a minute. I'll have to think of something up. I don't know what. Everybody knows me as this though now. So what do I change it to? I don't know.
Whoa. It's a nightmare to any broadcaster, my friend.
Subliminal.
So, my friend, how are you doing on day 297 of Purgatory? How are you doing?
Purgatory. It is purgatory. I think it's a very good. That's an apt description of it. It does feel a bit sort of like limbo-like, doesn't it?
I was sorry. I was just gonna. A little thing popped in my head. Then, hell has frozen over, and I can actually prove it as well, because this is the scene outside my window.
You've got snow.
Broadcasting house window, meaning my bedroom.
It's like Mr. Brown's towers.
Mr. Brown's cesspit. 297 days of cesspit. Here we go. This is proof that hell can freeze over. Here we go, ladies and gents. Look at that.
That's lovely.
One positive, though, my friend, is that my ex-employers, who basically you would have to go through hot coals to get to work, to be sat there doing fuck all. So this is the one time where I've just not had to get up and risk smashing my van up to go to work for no thanks. The last time it was like this, I lost control of my van, because it's only a tiny little van, and there was nothing in the back, so it was a bit kind of skittish, the back end going.
Yeah.
And I nearly drove it into a deep pond on the because I lost control, and fuck knows how I didn't go in the pond. Middle of winter, going in a deep, because people have done it before, because it was on a hard right hand 90-degree bend.
Yeah.
And the fucking back end went, and to this day, fuck knows. I was shaken up, and I remember I pulled over about quarter of a mile later, and it was bad weather, and I just rang up and says, I nearly drove my car in the lake. I ain't fucking coming in, and that was it.
Yeah, it's probably a good decision. It's when the ground freezes over and then it snows on top. Deadly.
I thought I'd wrecked the steering, because driving home, I just couldn't steer.
Yeah.
And obviously you're driving in this. Got home, there's a fucking traffic cone lodged under the front wheel and the wheel arch liner.
Yeah.
So no, I couldn't fucking steer.
At least that's all it was.
Happy days.
So you've got that winter scene going on. Well, it's nicer than what I've got. I'm just grey, half light. That kind of time of year when everything's just dark. It never gets bright.
Yeah, well, I took this photograph an hour ago, and it's still like that now. It's setting for the day, because you can just tell, because the clouds look they just look white, and there's just no visible difference. So yeah.
Well, the positive thing about that is that at least it brings in daylight. You know what I mean? At least it lightens everything up a bit.
That is a problem with this time of year from where we are, isn't it?
It really is here. Yeah,
it's just everything's just so gloomy, and no wonder people are suffering.
that's the big thing, isn't it? I used to take a supplement for it. I can't remember what it's called now. St. John's Wort or something like that.
Yeah, vitamin D is the sunlight.
Yeah, I might have to go and
Vitamin.
get some later. Actually, yeah, it's
anything,
for the SAD, isn't it?
Yeah, anything with vitamin D. Yeah, the SAD lights. What was it? Seasonal
Affective disorder.
Yeah, those lights. There has been times I have looked at them, especially last year, as you know, Matt. I had a dark time literally last year,
Yeah.
and yeah, you just you get up in the dark, you go to work, you look at a fucking wall for 6 hours in light or in semi-light, and then you just seem to be in dark all the time, and no wonder just people are just, in such a very, very low, depressed, I'll say, suicidal state.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Totally sympathise with it. Being someone that for 3 years worked on an industrial estate, driving to this industrial estate down some back road in Leicester, pulling into the car park, and it was this grey old building surrounded by other grey old buildings with all this clattering and whining and whirring going on from like the sawmills and whatever. And walking into this, big cattle shed like building, and it was like a factory environment inside. And then you go and sit in this office, which is a little bit cushier than a factory, but it was sitting there with no daylight coming in, one skylight, which you couldn't open because rain would come in or fumes from other buildings.
Oh dear.
Or one window that opened up onto a load of industrial cooling equipment, which is like pipes and conditioners and all this sort of stuff coming out of the other. There was nothing to look at. It was just a patio and this like pipes and stuff. And you just turn around and go, oh God, that's awful. I'd rather look at this room full of like miserable blokes, And that was all you had, like from, you go to work at like 6:30 in the morning, pitch black, come home at like half light at about 3:30 when it's just sort of starting to get dark. And then all the daylight you've missed because you've been stuck in this shoebox with, a bunch of other people that are miserable themselves, and they're all mumbling and, and it's just, and it doesn't do your head any good whatsoever. And you didn't see any vegetation, you didn't see any sky, you didn't see anything nice to look at or concentrate your eyes on at break time. You go into the break room and look out the window, and it's just car park with cars in it, and it was like this day in, day out for 3 years. I mean, okay, during the summer when it's a bit sunnier, you might be able to go outside and get a little bit of sun or something, but that's barely anything. But you're absolutely right. There's so many people that are going through this where they're not getting any kind of like any natural stimulus or any kind of respite from the environment. They're not seeing anything nice. They're not being surrounded by anything nice. There's no organic material, no plants, no seascape, no trees, no wildlife, nothing.
No sunlight. If anything, no sunlight.
Absolutely. Then it's so depressing, and you don't realize it for quite a while, but it really gets to you and it chips away. And then after 3 years or however long, some people take a lot less time than that. It impacts you really badly, and it can, when you look around, you've been hit with this depression, you don't know where it's come from, and there's so many people out there that had it a lot worse than probably me and you, and that's kind of just a taste of it almost, really.
You become a functioning depressive.
Yeah.
And as I said to you before, I didn't recognize the signs because you just think it's just normal.
Yeah, you just think, you've just got to get on with it. This is life, This is
But you don't actually realize. You don't actually realize your brain is not working properly, and you just feel like you're trying to juggle 32 juggling balls and trying to keep them all in the air,
right?
And just the slightest thing, and you can just lose it.
Yeah, one thing goes wrong and your world falls apart, sort of thing.
Yeah, and
it's only in your head, but you feel like it's the end of the world,
Yeah, and you have. I found that I used to get very, very angry, because obviously anger and depression go hand in hand.
And sort of negative energy, isn't it?
The slightest thing, and I just lose it. And I don't think a lot of people kind of realize the signs, or they just, as you just said previously, they just think that this is it. This is the world.
Mm. Yeah, never. This is it. It's not going to get any better than this. I've just got to accept that this is reality.
I like living in the UK. It's so great during the summer.
It's kind of
the long
two sides of the same coin, isn't it?
the
Two
long
sides of the same
days,
coin.
short
Yeah.
nights, etc. But
The flip side.
I have a theory about pleasure, pain, up, down, left, right. If the good times are always offset by the bad times. Do you understand what I mean? Kind of like,
absolutely, yeah.
And the UK is classic, isn't it? Because of where we are on the surface of the planet and the the seasons and stuff.
And the jet stream with the weather and the climate effect, yeah.
But going back to what you said, I think at the moment, the snow reflecting all the light, it just feels like great, natural kind of bright lights.
That's why I love it so much.
Yeah, you can feel it straight away.
Yeah.
But for the past month and a half, it's just been this kind of low, depressive, I can't be arsed with life. And I know there's a lot of... I spoke to... I did a stream yesterday, and we was talking about this stuff, and we think, obviously, we've got all this kind of physical stuff going on and all the kind of economic stuff, like, losing jobs, people staying at home, etc., etc. But I just think that there's a huge tsunami of mental health coming over the horizon.
If it's not already on top of us, yeah. And it's going to go unheard of for a while until it kind of accumulates and everyone, massive numbers of people come out and admit that this is going on.
I've realised the last few days, especially, my routine for 25 years was wake up at 6:15, go downstairs, sort the cats out, have some breakfast, quick look at the news, upstairs, shower, drive to work, do work, go to the gym, come home, sort tea, relax, bed. And that was my routine for 25 years.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of muscle memory of getting up at 6:15 every morning.
Yeah.
I am now struggling to get out of bed for 10 o'clock.
Yeah. What time is it you usually go to sleep at night?
It was about 1:30 last night. I used to go to bed because I believe in sleep cycles, and I've always needed 8 hours sleep. So I kind of timed my sleep cycles, which to the uninitiated are about 90 minutes. So if you wake up midway through a sleep cycle, that's why you will feel groggy and tired.
Sure, yeah, because you're kind of ripped out. You're not naturally sort of resurfacing.
Yeah, whereas if you at the end of a sleep cycle, you're in light sleep. So if you wake up at the end of a sleep cycle, you will feel as good as you can feel. You will feel kind of refreshed. So I kind of timed my sleep cycles from I would either go to bed at a good time to go to bed for me would be about 8:45 or about 10:15. And then I wake up in the morning fit as a fiddle.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's all over the place, and sleep is a tricky thing, because I think if you get too much sleep, you want to sleep more. But because I think you kind of go into a hibernation state. But when you think about it, sleeping and you're missing half the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a perfect storm of lack of activity, no daylight, and just wanting to do nothing
Yeah.
because of the
It
lack
feeds
of
itself, doesn't
activity.
it?
So I can see why people's mental state just goes quickly, because there's been days this week I've got up, gone downstairs. Got up at 10 o'clock. Gone downstairs, made some toast, coffee, had breakfast, and the first thing popping into my mind was, I think I might go back to bed, or I'm tired.
Yeah. Because
And
you don't feel as if there's anything else to do or to stay up for or stay awake for. You think, well, I think I might be a bit more beneficial. It might be a bit more beneficial to me if I just switch off and sort of hibernate, like C-3PO in Star Wars, when he says, "If you don't mind, sir, I might just power down for that kind of thing." And you're not going to be trouble to anyone,
Well, it's not being trouble to anybody. It's just that, just to call, you just can't be asked.
Oh yeah, because you see a hill in front of you and you just go, ultimately, what's the point? I'm just going to come down the other side again and be back at square one. So
I think you hit it perfectly. Then I just think there's going to be a lot of people just thinking, "What's the point?"
Mm-hmm.
And when you start thinking, "What's the point?" that's I think that is a dangerous position to be in.
Yeah,
I've been
the
there.
first red flag, isn't it?
I've been there. What's the point?
Yeah.
And I have deliberately kind of avoided the news, because it's just literally, there's no good news. And I think if I was to watch the news every day, that would just grind you down as well.
Yeah.
There's just no good news anywhere. And
I think that's the problem with the news in general, isn't it? That's why you get so many people saying now, just switch it off. Do not pay attention to the news whatsoever,
They just keep, piling out all these facts about how many new cases and people who have died today, and,
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. But, the government are doing vaccines and blah, blah, blah. As I said, the mental health thing, nobody talks about any of this. And I just think we're in a very, very bad position and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah. I have to agree. It's too easily avoided, isn't it? I think people would rather kind of turn a blind eye, pretend it's not happening. I think that's going on awfully frequently on the planet, where we've got the blind eye syndrome, where everyone's just sort of thinking, I can't mentally deal with it. I'm just going to ignore it.
Especially, people of our age, because, late 40s, early 50s, males, it's just in our blood not to talk about this. It's like stiff upper lip stuff, all that stuff. So there's kind of our age group. In fact, I think it's just going to be every age group. Obviously, the older you are, the less likely you are to talk about it, because we're from a generation where you just didn't talk about it, did you?
No, not at all.
And younger people in their, teens, early 20s, they're well up on this. And, because they've been told it's okay not to be okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a cliche, but it's true. It is okay not to be okay. And if you feel bad, don't bottle it in. I've been there. You just keeping it inward. You just go so inwards. The sun doesn't shine, does it?
Yeah, it's a similar thing to, I think culture and society have changed so much over the last 20, 30 years, when everyone would prefer to ignore it. It might be a British thing, I don't know, but suddenly there is a whole different mentality taken over at schools, where they sort of like start them at an early age where people say, that they're against bullying and you must tell on bullies and you must report them and all this sort of stuff. Whereas once upon a time it was like, don't be a tattletale, don't tell on anyone. That you're just, you're just being a telltale if you tell on other people for bullying, or you got to suck it up and just deal with it, etc., etc. Now everything's very open and everything's very much more understanding.
Yeah, I think on some things it's probably too open, because I think you've got to develop a bit of a hard skin, because that is, certain things, that's what life is. That's what growing and life experience is. Going back to the bullying at school, I got bullied at school, but back then you just had to deal with it. Oh, you'll be all right. It toughens you up. Blah blah blah.
It's true. I mean, I agree with that to an extent. I think
there needs to be a kind of a fine line. Yeah. There probably needs to be kind of a fine, like a somewhere in the middle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everything just seems to be extremes.
Yeah, I mean, the bullying thing is just an example of the depression subject we're talking about, but it's kind of almost a natural thing. It's like a survival of the fittest sort of Darwinism aspect to life, where you've got to learn. It's kind of like it's all about sort of toughening you up. It's all about dealing with resistance and pushing through it and learning and building and growing. And I think it's kind of, I mean, I'd never say that bullying is okay, but it's kind of almost necessary in a way where if we learn how to deal with it, then we're going to be a stronger person and a better person for it.
Well, yeah, that's a positive.
Crossed. Yeah, I think kids just need to be given the tools to deal with it, rather than kind of be like a nanny state where it's outlawed and everyone's wrapped in cotton wool and everyone's delicate and fragile, etc., etc. I think that's going in the wrong direction.
I think I don't know if children truly understand what's going on. I'm sure they do, but they've been thrown very, very, in the deep end with all this. I don't know how it's going to be affecting them just stuck at home, because effectively going to school is work for kids, and it's routine. It's routine, isn't it?
It's to program kids into being in a routine, isn't it? Because before school there was no routine for kids other than get up, eat, go to bed, play, that kind of thing. Yeah,
because up until when you're 4 or 5, from 4 to 5 onwards, it's effectively you're in the working routine. School work, it's essentially the same thing. One you get paid for. So I dread to think how kids are dealing with it at the moment, because there's been days where I just want to curl up in a ball, and I'm a grown adult. So
just forget the world,
I don't know if maybe because they're so young, they just maybe don't understand fully what's going on, and maybe that could be to their advantage. I don't know. I've been
trying to put myself back into the kind of the mind state of when I was, say, about 10 years old, for just as a random number, how I would have dealt with it, or how I would have felt in this kind of situation. And it's almost impossible to do, because we can only go on our memories. And back then the world was so free and carefree and limitless, and almost free of restrictions and rules, beyond you got to be in by this time of night, your parents telling you, that dinner's at this time, and that kind of thing. School is on this day, you can play on this day, that kind of thing. That was kind of the limits. And you kind of felt like that you were so free to do anything you want,
Indeed,
and now kids have got this kind of barrier against everything. They're being told, no, we can't do that. No, we can't go there. No, we can't see this. No, we can't leave the house because of this, this, and this. And everything, all their activities and all their networking and all their social connections are now cut off, or through a digital outlet, like something like this, or Zoom, or whatever they use now, or voice chat over a video game or whatever.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue with all this that's going on is the duration. And as I said at the beginning, 297 days since the first lockdown.
Yeah, and they said, what did they say? It was just going to be like a couple of months at most or something back this time last year. Yeah.
And as I said on my stream yesterday, the government should have locked down, or pretty much as close to a lockdown as possible. Practically, I'd say Christmas 2019, maybe first week January.
Just first when they first heard about this, that's when they should have put procedures in
they
place.
knew how virulent the coof was, and all you heard was on TV people coming in from flights and stuff, and then when you'd hear TV reports of like, oh, it's really bad in this area, and then all these cruise ships that have had to be, it's rife amongst cruise ships, and then you get on breakfast TV. I'm Mrs. Higginbottoms from Essex or whatever. I'm British. I demand to come home. People who retired on long cruises, enjoying themselves. As I said yesterday, the government should have provided for all these people. It should have all been locked down, and all these people should have been either kind of relocated to like safe areas in the local, area. And the government should have said, look, right, just batten down the hatches. We will make sure you're okay, blah, 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 blah. But instead, they just let everybody in. And they didn't even test anybody, no quarantine or anything for quite a few months before it got to that point. And they even have a fucking horse race meeting at Cheltenham. Like 3-4 days, 300,000 people just, and you wonder why we're in a position now. It's just been mismanaged from every angle. And I think once the cutoff point for the initial lockdown, maybe just lock it all down very, very early. I just think we've been playing catch up ever since, and I just don't think we'll ever catch up with it, because people are people, and people do what people do. Much like the virus does what the virus does, and people just need to realise, and in the defence of the government, it's not the government spreading the virus, it's people's carelessness. And I'm sorry if saying something like that to somebody upsets them, but it's people's carelessness that's spreading it, nobody else. And people just need to take responsibility. I live with my 92-year-old father. Will he fuck wash his hands? As I said yesterday, won't wash his hands. Yesterday he's making me a cup of tea, right? I'm sorting dinner out. He goes to the toilet, has a pee, comes through, he's just about to start handling the cups again. I said, wash your fucking hands. And he just goes, like old people do, because they fucking know it all. Which is, probably part of the problem why we're in where we are now. Like that. I just got a string of abuse.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, Matt, I says, I'm not having a go at you. It's all over, people, wash your hands. Oh, I go to the supermarket. I wear some rubber work gloves, right? A mask and my glasses. Go to the supermarket, come home, pack all the stuff away, wash your hands. It's simple little things like that.
Yeah, I think people are just completely oblivious to them, aren't they?
Sorry, I started going off on one then. Sorry, mate.
No, it's true. Totally agree. And then you get the flip side. You get when I've been running and I'll go through the park and there'll be an elderly woman that's sort of masked up to the eyeballs. She's covered up completely. She might as well be in an environment suit, I suppose. And she's tottering along with her shopping trolley behind her. And I'm giving her quite a wide berth anyway. But then she'll sort of see me coming and be horrified because I'm breathing vapor and whatever, and and I'm not wearing a mask because I'm running. And she'll stop as I'm running. She won't keep walking. She'll stop, and she's coming the other direction. She'll stop, and then she'll sort of shuffle as far to the edge of the pathway as possible, almost onto the grass, until I've gone past, and then she'll start going again. And it's kind of this. That's the complete opposite of people just so scared about everything.
Yeah, it's like you walk home from the supermarket and there's somebody walking down the same pavement, and you kind of distance yourself, and it's almost like you're kind of suspicious of everybody.
That's what it's like, isn't it? I think Dave Cullen talked a lot about this actually on videos.
That's not good. Just we are, super sociable, and you look at each other walking down the street, and you don't say hello, or it's got to the point now where before all this happened, you wouldn't even say hello to anybody anyway. Everybody just goes about the business, not saying hello. 20, 30 years ago, and you'd say morning and all stuff like that. Whereas now, there was a young girl with a couple of weekends ago. There was a young girl with a dog, and it's one of these kind of Eskimo type looking dogs. And I just passed her, says, "Morning, nice doggy," and she just looks at you like you're a fucking alien.
Yeah.
She's I'd say probably early 20s, and it's like you look like you've just been dropped by a fucking spaceship in front of you, and instead of just going, being sociable.
We just lost this sort of basic social skill of being nice to people and general niceties in society,
And it surprised me a little bit how she just looked at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And I think
they've been deprived of basic interactions with people,
And I've noticed it's been like that for quite a few years now.
Oh yeah.
But now with everything that's going on, I just don't think we're in a good place.
No, it's not just the younger generations that are doing that. It's everyone's doing that now. I mean, about 3 years ago, I went for a ride on my e-board, my electric skateboard, just around the block, basically, just to test out the new setup I had on it. And we've got a train station near where I live, and there were people coming out of the train station, commuters, and one of them had just crossed the road and she turned left towards me, and I was going along the pavement. And I'd slowed down because there were people about, like you do. It was just a crawl, so you don't freak people out, and no one's at danger. It's got brakes on it, but she was walking towards me. She must have been sort of mid-20s, and she stared at me like I just violated a member of her family, and I'd not done anything. I'd not sort of like said anything to her. I've not looked at her in the wrong way or anything like that. I just rolled towards her, braked to let her pass and let other people get out of the way, and then I carried on. And literally, she was looking at me like you say, like I was an alien. Just the look on her face was just how dare you be like this or do this or whatever. And it's stuck in my head ever since. And I just thought, wow, do people really have this kind of reaction to people when they see something unusual? Like someone saying, "Oh, good afternoon. Oh, love your dog," that kind of thing,
We will. It's very reminiscent of what they used to do about 80 years ago on mainland Europe, if you know what I mean. If you know where I'm coming from. I think you'll get to the. I think we are as good in a police state now as we can be with, the police are allowed. It's like the police were allowed to come into. If you was having a party over Christmas, the police were allowed to come into your house and arrest everybody.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's very reminiscent of something that's happened in the past, isn't it?
Yeah, or in a certain communist country somewhere in the world, maybe in Asia, possibly.
Not even that. It's just a little bit too close to home.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've seen on the news recently on the odd clip on YouTube, because the major news channels now putting their headlines on YouTube about police patrolling beaches and public areas, parks and that, and ordering people to disperse and go home and whatever, or incur a £10,000 fine or whatever. Even though it's not, I don't think they can do that. They can't legally enforce that at all.
I don't know. I just kind of get the feeling that we're in kind of brown shirts territory coming up soon.
Yeah, well, someone said to me last week, they said the China, let's just say China, have basically won a war over the West without firing one shot.
I think that's another discussion for another day, though, don't you?
Yeah, but when you say about controlling people and the populace,
Yeah.
and stopping people from doing basic things, then it's kind of like makes you think, yeah, it's very much like a communist state.
A lot of my streams recently have basically, in a nutshell, the main theme is humans scrabbling about in the dirt, navel gazing, scrabbling about in the mud, and all this. It's just all. It's the human species is an amazing thing, but we're too busy concentrating on the bad stuff and the petty stuff, and with everything that's going on, it just fucking grinds you down.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's all we hear.
yeah, all the time. Is there anything? Nothing's positive anymore. People just feel like they're existing for. It's just so much negativity, so much pettiness, just so much anger, so much nastiness, and cliche. It's nice to be nice.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything, does it?
Politics, religion, blah blah blah. It's all shit.
I think it's a lot of it as well has been exacerbated by social media, which is at the moment, at least, the main way people are communicating, because we can't be together. So everyone, I mean, my social interactions at the moment consists of social media. This is the sad state of affairs. And the problem with social media is you only get like half of an interaction. You only get like the words. You don't get the facial expressions, the mannerisms, the vocal tone, in any kind of emotional inflection at all. It's and for some reason humans just default to assuming people are just being nasty, and
Yeah.
the whole social media landscape just ends up like a war zone.
Yeah, texts are perceived pretty much by the end user and how their state of mind is.
Yeah.
There's been times I've given compliments or messages and they've just come back firing all guns blazing. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Plus, if everybody's interacting electronically, all these companies know what you're saying.
Oh yeah, it's all going into a database, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll just finish off on this and we'll try and do a little bit of lighter stuff for the last 20 minutes. We had a conversation last Saturday about all this kind of Trump stuff and kind of 1984 and all this kind of censorship and media and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And none of us condoned what Trump did because it was bad. Yeah, people died.
Mm-hmm.
And that's bad. But all the social media, all the media companies basically just banned Trump, didn't they?
Right.
Trump is the most powerful man in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and all the media silenced the most powerful man in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about that, yeah.
I know. Well, yeah, as it shows now, in the last month or so, it's the media that controls everything and big tech.
I don't think people have put two and two together on that quite
I don't
yet.
think so. No, they haven't. It's going to take a while before they do work that out. I think only, with the announcements of Jeff Bezos making several, I don't know how many 100 billion or whatever since this time last year.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk as well, becoming the richest person on the planet. Not that he's particularly insidious in any way, but just as an example of big tech, these things are now just becoming prominent. They're surfacing in the news and general word of mouth, in sort of everyday talking between, everyday conversation between each other and in between families and stuff. And it's only now this is starting to come out. So it's going to take at least another year before everyone really figures out what's going on. It's going to be way too far gone by then. We realise there's just a main few bunch of corporations that are actually pulling the strings on everything.
We'll go on to we'll kind of roundly go into something a little bit lighter now, but what I'll say is I think all the people are kind of waking up to the fact that they need to come away from the big media stuff, because they're just the media has the power, and I think people are they've not put two and two together with the Trump thing yet, but I think people are waking up to the fact that it's going to be people like you and I who are on YouTube talking about normal things. That is probably where it's going to be going. And Gary from Nerdrotic has kind of said that it's, what did he say? Year of the fan?
I've heard this, Year of the Fan. Does that mean
it's basically like you're a very big, we're all a very big fan of Gina Carano, are we not?
Right.
Hail, Gina, if you're listening. I doubt it, but she's developed a kind of a working relationship with Drunk 3PO, hasn't she?
That's right.
And I think I think a lot of these kind of actors and big stars are probably waking up to the fact that it's not your big media companies who they want to be talking to. It's people like you and I with the channels, the people who are kind of there on the ground level, keeping it real. And she's woken up to the fact that, by speaking to Drunk 3PO, that's where it's going.
Yeah, actual sort of that link between a previously seemed out of reach realm of celebrity and entertainment interacting directly with the consumer, with the customer, with the fan.
And by the way, hello Sklavko, we've got a viewer. Hey up, mate, he's one of our regulars. You're right, pal. She's there. She's woken up to the fact that it's the fans, it's the customers, isn't it? It's all these big corporations just piling out all this shite that nobody wants to watch because they are appealing to, let's face it, a minority.
Right.
A minority that have the loudest voices.
Yeah, that make
like a little spoilt child.
It provides the illusion that that there's a lot more of them than there are.
Yeah, you just give these spoilt children a smartphone. You might as well just give them a gun.
Yeah, it's the modern day equivalent of a megaphone, isn't it?
Yeah, and she's wised up to the fact that it's people like you and I who are the ones that she should be, that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And have you read the? I've briefly read a couple of articles that they're trying to cancel her now, aren't they? They're trying to get rid of her off Disney. Apparently, Jon Favreau is protecting her. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I don't know how much credence there is to that. I mean, they were trying to cancel her a few months back, weren't they? And it came to nothing, almost as if it was just a big fuss over nothing. It was a storm in a teacup. It seems like this is, again, the same sort of thing. If it didn't happen previously, it's not going to happen this time.
Thing is, Matt, it wouldn't surprise me if these little shits from the, comfort of their own living room, behind their little keyboard, are doing their fucking best to get rid of it. It just would not surprise me at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because she doesn't share their philosophy, then they somehow now think they have some kind of authority, and they have a power that they can cancel people from over that distance, from behind those barriers. They've got this power to start reaching across the world and cancelling people at a whim. That's what they're thinking. I think they've got that mentality now.
I can't understand why they take pride in trying to destroy people. I just can't get my head around that.
I think it makes them feel better about themselves because they haven't achieved anything or aspired to anything in their lives, and they feel sort of victimized because they're not as successful as some other people or people that they see in the media, perhaps. And they feel it necessary to kind of tear other things down that are more successful just to make themselves feel better. I think that there's a certain aspect of that comes into it.
You and I are of a certain age. Have we ever had that opinion where I've got nothing, so I want to destroy somebody who's successful?
I've got to say, it's never made me want to destroy anything at all. It's made me, before I became wise to the fact and knew better, to think better of it. In the past, I have thought, when I've seen a guy driving like an Aston Martin or something like that, or pulling up in a pub car park and stepping out of an expensive Aston Martin, I've just sat there and looked at it from my drink and thought, "Oh, bastard, that absolute bastard," But then I've luckily over subsequent years, I've thought to myself, well, that's not the right way to think at all. He's obviously worked hard for what he's got, and that has to be applauded and it has to be respected. Because if you're in that position, then what would you want other people to think of you? You haven't had that handed to you. You've worked hard for it, and you don't want people just randomly assuming that you're a bad person because you showing an example of wealth. It's the whole thing about avarice. People being jealous of something else when they don't know the story or they don't know the history of what's behind the thing they're looking at. They just assume that person must be bad because they've got something that you haven't got, or money is bad, money is evil, success is evil. And this is the whole communist mindset, isn't it? Where everyone should be brought down to the same level. No matter how hard you work, you should all sort of be handed out the same amount of money, and no one should be looking at the other person and being jealous of them. Everyone should be the same level, etc. It's that kind of thing.
Don't get me wrong. No, nobody should be without on a basic level. Yeah, like this thing going on with all the kids' food parcels, this insult to people who can't eat. That's one extreme of it, and people like that should be provided for.
Oh yeah, I mean, everyone should start off on a level platform. Absolutely.
Everybody. See, even if you say anything, you will be accused of something. See, I believe that everybody should have at least a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, money is the root of all evil. It's been said many times, and when you think about it, it is.
Yeah, it's a tool, isn't it, to kind of it's a stand-in for eggs and livestock and physical things.
That is the we'll go sci-fi. That is why I always like Star Trek, because in the future, this is where we go very geeky. There is no money, so everybody straight off is equal, aren't they? Everybody's there to better themselves.
Yeah, your wealth is determined by your success, not from your accumulation.
Yes, and that's why I always loved Star Trek. And as a species, that's where we need to be. I think so. That's where we need to be.
This is why I loved Next Generation so much, because it truly, for the first time, made me aware of the society we need to aspire to achieve. Before that, it was Star Trek to me, it was all about spaceships, special effects, amazing, dazzling events and things like that, because I'd seen the movies, and the movies were the most impactful thing to me because they're all about the spectacle, the movies. But when you actually indulge in the TV series and you're sort of watching for the long period, and you're seeing episode after episode after episode, and they've got the longevity and the scope to tell more nuanced stories and not just focus on the action and explosions and devastating events. They can talk about very sort of intimate issues and very deep philosophical and social things, and still be amazingly entertaining and engaging. that's when it really gets to you. And that's when it got me when I was watching Next Generation. And after like season 2, season 3, my God, it was really got it's hooks into me. And I was just fascinated by it. And I was thinking, man, I just wish Starfleet existed today. I wish I could actually enroll and try and get somewhere with my life and be one of these people that own that their any kind of sense of pride or self-worth comes from what they've achieved rather than what they can buy or their social reach.
It's good to have nice things, but it's great to be creative and do creative things that just make you feel better about yourself, where there's no money involved.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to do this kind of bettering ourselves.
I think this is one reason why
trying to destroy people.
Yeah, I've got to say this is really important. This is one of the reasons why I've always followed Drunk 3PO on social media. Right 3 years ago when everyone seemed to descend on social media or rise to the surface on social media on Twitter as a reaction to certain all our favorite IPs being appropriated and being destroyed, we all sort of needed to air our voices. And Drunk 3PO was one of the earliest guys that I was conversing with, and we shared voices on Twitter. And he decided to make his own YouTube channel because of it as well. And I thought, great, you're up there on YouTube. You're getting out there and seeing, you're getting more exposure to a lot more people. And the stuff he was talking about was great. And he had this whole philosophy, and this was all stuff that I thought myself as well. And I thought, this is great that he thinks this, and it's inspiring to a lot of people. Is the whole attitude of gratitude thing, where everyone's default should just be a thanks for everything we have and to everyone that is in our lives and to every opportunity and every fortune that comes our way, and just to be endlessly grateful for it and to show that gratitude to those people and to the world, instead of being bitter about what we don't have and putting out vitriol into the world because of it, instead of focusing on what is actually good and what we do have.
Be grateful for what you've got.
Yeah, we're all instead focusing on what we don't have and the miserable, bad things. We're completely ignoring the positive side. And those words have stuck with me ever since. I mean, I heard the phrase attitude of gratitude way before that, but when Drunk 3PO said it that one time, it reminded me, and I was like, yes, of course, and it's just stuck in my head ever since. And I was at the time when he was talking about that kind of thing, going through that depressive stage and just coming out of that job, and it was, and things like that were all going towards being the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why it's embedded itself so firmly in my brain. And I've just taken it on as a default thought every day when I wake up now. I just think of him saying that. And I applaud him for that. And the whole, when he's been to places like El Salvador and helped out certain towns with setting up houses and schools for children, oh my God, it's just amazing. And I wanted to be involved with it. Unfortunately, it was the geographical state of me being in the UK and everything put a lot of barriers in the way, so I couldn't get involved. But I would have loved to have gone and been part of that and done that and do it on a regular basis. And just that sense of self-worth you must get afterwards must be just far better than any amount, just receiving, say, £50,000 in your bank account, because that's all going to get whittled away and spent on whatever. But that experience of helping those kids and being in contact with them and knowing that you can do that anytime you want is going to last a lifetime for yourself and for those kids. Which is the better thing. The whole bunch of coins that we get from somewhere that we spend and flitter away, that are just tokens for real world objects, or something that actually means something to a lot of people. If everyone took that attitude, if everyone did that kind of helpful activity for people that are less fortunate, everyone did that on the planet. Can you imagine how different overnight the whole world would be? How different instantly everything would be. Instantly, the place would just be a wonderful paradise. But you try and convince people of that, people just won't listen.
I think that human race has gone, especially this last 10 years, 10, 15 years, we've probably gone back 80 years. And I think the technology aspects has created the monster that the place that we're in.
Yeah. Instead of, I mean, it has enabled a lot of positive things, but there's always a flip side, isn't there?
Yeah, as I said, going back to like the brown shirts.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it'd been like if they had technology like what we've got today back then?
Yeah, I think the war would have been over a lot quicker, wouldn't it? And not in our favour.
Yeah, I'll agree with what you said about what you should check out. See if there's any local what I did over Christmas, and it's only a tiny little bit. To be fair, there are people who kind of do this weekly that I know of. Just look for a local homeless feed group and just help out. I've this is kind of penance. I always say it's penance for me being a wanker for the rest of the year. That Christmas Day, I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then drive to Leeds to help this guy who he does the homeless feed weekly. If there's been times when I know that he's done it nightly for all the homeless people in Leeds.
Oh yeah.
And obviously Christmas is slightly different. And the story is 5 years ago. I just split up from a girlfriend, and it was the first time in a while that Christmas it just been me and my dad, and I knew it was going to be bad. So I just thought, all right, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, just kind of do something homeless or charity on Christmas Day. And I just kind of stumbled across this group in Leeds on Facebook. And I said, do you want any help? And he says, yeah, come down. So it was because I had a van, luckily enough. Basically, I provided the transport to get all the equipment and food into the centre of Leeds for the day. So obviously people turn up as well, women and men and kids and stuff who donate their time on Christmas Day to help these people who are, when you're in the middle of Leeds city centre and you're walking around the centre trying to round up or speak to people who are living under railway bridges in smelly tents that stink. And you just kind of think how lucky you are to get a roof over your head and you can shower.
Yeah.
And you see these people who have been living on the street for months, and everybody's one bad decision away from that.
Yeah, we don't realise, so many of us don't realise how much of a fine line there is as a barrier between our everyday lives and being in the gutter.
I with my circumstance now, I'm living with my father. I think if I wasn't living with him, I'd be fucked because I'm not earning any money. I've not earned any money since August.
Right.
And everybody's. And I know for a fact there'll be people worse off than me. Everybody's one bad decision away from on the streets, and me giving 6 hours, 7 hours on Christmas Day, helping. There was an issue where it was like anybody who does stuff like this, especially for the first time, will realize this. Am I doing it for me or am I doing it for them?
Yeah, that's right. Am I doing it to sort of make myself feel less guilty and also
better about myself?
Yeah, prouder about myself, just to get a selfish aspect of I want to feel that warm fuzzy feeling, that kind of thing,
That's seriously fucked with my head.
Yeah, it does. You can't help it. You can't help thinking that. We all question ourselves, but
that's seriously fucked with my head. And am I doing it for me or am I doing it for them?
Is it truly a selfless act, or am I doing it because
yeah. And I've been doing it for 5 years now, so that's not an issue anymore. I just go do what I have to do, help these people. Just basically, when I'm doing it, I give it. All I'll say is, irrespective of how you feel about it, when you do it, just give it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you need to do, because then you know you've done your best.
Yeah.
It was slightly different this year because of everything that's going on. I think we did a breakfast this year, and I don't think the people who turned up with the frying pans and stuff, because it was a really cold, crisp morning. They had these gas burners, and the heat was going over the side of the pan, so the stuff wasn't cooking.
Right.
So I had to think quickly on my feet, and I went into the Blue Radisson Hotel in the middle of Leeds,
Right.
saying, "Have you got any fry pans? Can we borrow some fry pans?" And to the credit of the Blue Radisson, this is like a £150 a night hotel in the centre of Leeds. Not a problem. It's like previous years we've had where we've run out of hot water, because the guy did a breakfast this year, but normally it was like the dinner, and the dinner would consist of like we'd set up a marquee, have tables, there'd be there'd be chicken, all the hot vegetables and stuff like that, and coffee, everything. And the last few years have kind of run out of hot water, so you just nip over to the Queen's Hotel in Leeds, again, like £150 a night hotel, and say, "Can we have some hot water? Blah blah blah. Can we have this from the kitchen?" And it's not a problem, which is good. It does make you. There is some good satisfaction knowing that you've helped some people, because when you look at, as I said, when you look at somebody in a smelly tent sleeping, I think not this year, but the year before, there was this girl and her boyfriend sleeping in the archway of Leeds City Station. And, she's probably in her late 20s. She looked about 45.
Jeez, yeah.
And it's like, it just makes you realise how lucky you are.
Yeah.
And people are too busy concentrating on what they've not got. And, people just need to fucking wise up to the fact. Yeah, would you agree that, just be nice?
I don't think people realise how much of a huge effect that small effort makes.
I did a tweet today. Somebody had done this pigeon that had gone to I think it had stowed on a plane going to Australia, and somebody had found it in Melbourne in Australia, and now the authorities want to destroy this bird. And I tweeted saying, it is, give the animal a bit of respect, just send it back, blah blah blah. And somebody just said, "It's being respectfully told to fuck off." People they just come wading in. It is very difficult not to be. I've had to hold myself back on Twitter from being abusive.
Just think twice about what you're about to say.
I tried to keep it as nice as possible on Twitter. It's just so easy, though, isn't it?
I think that needs to be general online etiquette with people. I think that people just need to take that stance with social media. Would think twice about what you're about to say before you say it.
Self-censorship, folks. Yeah. You just need to take 30 seconds and just think about, if you post something on whatever media platform it is, you just need to think for those 30 seconds, how will this affect the person it's aimed at or other people? Just stop being ignorant of the fact and just take 30 seconds. We're all young, we're all clever bastards, been there, we're all clever bastards. But you get to a stage in life where it's not important. But a lot of the people, probably at the stage they're at, think it is important. And I've got news for you guys. It's not important. You
Mm.
know, there's far bigger fish to fry than all this petty shit.
Yeah, I think it's too easy to think for the individual to assume that they're the most important person in the world, isn't it?
And I'm sorry for being an old fucker, but it's just the way it is. Sorry, guys. Knowledge only, with age comes great wisdom and responsibility. I don't know about you, Matt. I'd probably think that's, spot on.
It's true.
With
it is true. I'm not hugely different to the person I was 10, 20 years ago, but I'm a lot wiser, shall we say, and I have a lot more perspective. And you only get that from time.
My brother, who doesn't really say a lot. I know he's got cancer at the moment, and found out yesterday from my dad that he was told in September he's only got 6 months to live, and I didn't know this because he never fucking says anything. And found out yesterday that he's got COVID.
Oh Christ! Right.
And he caught it about a week ago, and to be fair, he must be a fucking fighter because he's still going.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that that's important.
It really
Family,
is.
yeah. Not saying somebody's a fucking isphobe or twat, wanker, cunt face or whatever. Yeah, or trying to destroy somebody. That's just fluff. Whereas it's stuff like this that really does matter. And I didn't even know. I kind of guessed that he was on borrowed time, but never even said anything. And my dad, he told me dad, but my dad never says anything to me. So
that's one thing we're lacking these days, isn't it? Communication. Even though we're more
empathy.
Yeah, empathy. Even though we're more connected than ever, really, in theory, technically, with the communication is not there. What's going on? We're not communicating.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, the communication's there, but the empathy has long gone.
Yeah, it's a spread of rather than a spread of goodwill and emotion.
It is. Shall we finish off there? We'll give it a couple more minutes. That was quite a deep, meaningful relationship to us. Some people will probably view it and go, "What a set!" But there you go. Be empathetic people. Matt, what are you up to at the moment? For the, are you doing anything creative? Because I know you're a creative sort.
I've got a couple of things going on. Well, I'm writing a novel. That's an ongoing thing, and which is great at the moment because I've got so much time to put into it, which is great. I'm always doing a bit of artwork here and there as well, just for my own portfolio and for friends, small jobs here and there, like for a friend who's got a band. He wants the odd album cover making, things like that.
All right, great.
And also I am doing a voiceover for Echo Base Network on their additional documentary video that they're producing soon. So
very good.
Coach has just sent me over a script to narrate for them, so I'm going to do that as soon as I can and send that back. So that's always something.
I asked Coach what software do they use for their opening titles. Never received an answer.
That's interesting. I think that
I thought he was supposed to be a man of the people.
Well, I've not personally seen anything to the contrary, but yeah. When did you ask him anyway? Was it a long time ago?
About a week and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't surprise me in that respect because they've just become stupidly busy. Their subscription numbers have just shot through the roof. And they're putting out a lot more videos now as well, whereas opposed to it used to be once a week. Now it's like almost 5 days a week. They're putting something out. And when they're not putting something out, they're behind the scenes, they're editing, as well as what they've got going on in their own lives with their own jobs and stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're not replying to every single message that comes through to them. I mean, I've sent them quite a few that I haven't received anything back from. Same as Doomcock. Right. I just assume that they've got an awful lot going on. So it wouldn't surprise me. But quiz them again. Send them another message.
Yeah, because I'd like to kind of... I've been working on some video titles this week. which has been tricky because my Mac is so old and the software I've got, while it's a legal copy, it is quite old. So maybe it's probably a good thing because it's so old that I'm having to kind of learn at a very basic level to get the same effect. But yeah, I think there is a market evolving, especially with going back to. I think everybody's turning to YouTube, aren't they?
It's the default at the moment because it's the biggest platform out there.
Yeah. So if anybody's watching this at home, would like some graphics doing for their channel, like the ones in the background, to make your channel look a little bit more pro. Myself and Demon Scythe Synthwave are your men. So yeah, if I think the YouTube market is probably just going to go stratospheric this year.
Yeah, I think over last year and this year, it's the landscape's completely changed, hasn't it?
Mainly because of the lockdown as well, I suppose.
Yeah, everyone, it's a captive audience.
It is. Yeah, do you want to have a look at this? Not that I'm floating my own boat, but I'm not like that. Do you want to have a look at this thing I've been doing? I don't know if there's going to be any sound.
You put it on.
I have noticed that on some of the video, I'd put a static noise and a test tone noise, and I uploaded it to YouTube, and I think YouTube has removed it automatically.
Strange. That's not copyright, is it?
No. I would imagine maybe there's like an algorithm that thinks this is probably interference or poor recording, and it's removed it.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of taken it away from, because if you watch the video with the static noise and the test tone, considering that I've never done anything like this before, I am quite pleased with it.
Yeah.
And then I uploaded it to YouTube. It's like, where the fuck's it gone?
Yeah, that is strange.
So it's like you're getting half the effect. So I'm trying to figure out how to work around that. So I don't know if you're going to get sound on this, but I'll press play anyway. So
right.
Is it on the screen? Let's have a look.
I can see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's moving. Yeah. Here we go then. Right.
Oh, it's his own countdown. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I like the test card thing. I'm not sure he knows what the old British BBC test card would look like, but it's still great. Was that instead of the clown on the screen? Was that Harvey?
Just bear with me. I can't hear because it's loud. Just bear with me. That's taken me all week to do that because my computer is so slow.
Yeah, right. If you had a quicker computer, it probably would take less than half the time.
Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah. What do you think?
That's good. I like it a lot. Yeah, impressed.
I'm quite pleased with it. It's taken me a long time to do it. It's just a total learning curve of figuring out how to do it in Photoshop. Obviously, you've got all the kind of proper software, like Premiere and stuff like that. But my computer is so old. Yeah, I'm kind of limited to what I can do. What was your question, did you say, during the video? Because I couldn't hear it.
Oh, I just said I'm not sure if Doomcock's ever seen that old BBC test card before to get the joke, but I thought that was great.
Well, yeah, that is a very British thing, yes. But yeah, it's great when you spend half hour, 35, 40 minutes looking online to get the appropriate test card or searching for the sound, the correct sound. It's good because it's all there. You just got to find it. So could you hear the sound on that? Did it work?
I couldn't personally hear it. It was very dim. There was something going on, but I couldn't hear it. I could hear your voice fine, but the actual sound of the video itself was very, very dim.
Okay. I would imagine that'll be a limitation of StreamYard. Okay. Shall we finish there, mate?
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before we pop off?
No, I'm pretty much done, mate. Really, to be honest with you.
I will I've put your link on the description. So if you want to find Demon Scythe Synthwave on Twitter, there'll be a link below. Thanks to our friends at StreamYard for providing this software free on a trial. So we thank them. There'll be a link if anybody wants to stream and use this software. There'll be a link on my the description below. So you'll get credit on your account if you sign up. So once again, thanks to StreamYard. If you've stuck to the end, mainly Sklavko, cheers, pal. We'll see you soon. That's it, yeah. Take care, everybody, and we'll probably see you for the Nooner tomorrow. So if you do fancy coming on, drop me a line. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.